Hey, what's up, people? So, I want to have a conversation. Someone asked me, is the Assemblies of God evangelical? It's not an easy question to answer. So, I need to start with, let's take a trip down history's lane. Okay, late 1800s, there began to be talks of a move of God. 1901, Topeka, Kansas. What happens? They ended up going all the way to Azusa Street. Revival breaks out there. Now, here's the interesting thing. A lot of early Pentecostals would have believed in what they called latter rain eschatology. And what this basically was that the book of Acts was the former rain, Azusa Street was the latter rain, and it would lead to the completion of the Great Commission, and once that had happened, the rapture would happen. Okay, basically, that's what they believed in, called the latter rain, and then they backed way off of that doctrine in 1948 when the latter rain heresy, heretical group in Canada that got goofy with eschatology and impartation and a lot massive abuses. And it had to be condemned by the Assemblies of God and a whole bunch of other people for their just outlandish craziness. Okay, so you have that, and that went on until about the late 1930s, and then they began to back off on it and begin to adopt full-blown dispensationalism, and which is not compatible with Pentecostalism. Okay, it's just not. It's just not. This idea that there's 7 church ages and Laodicea is the last one, and we're really screwed up. It's just not. It's not compatible with Pentecostal. It's definitely not compatible with latter rain eschatology that they had in the early days. But that began to take root, and we basically became fundamentalists. And we pulled back from society, and there we rejected a lot of things and just basically became fundamentalists that pray in tongues, and that happened. And then about the 80s, early 90s, they began to reject fundamentalism and became evangelical. They said, we're evangelical. Okay, and then that is where we are now, where we've rejected a whole lot of important stuff, holiness. We have mixed science and the gospel together, and we're not really evangelicals either. We're not really fundamentalists like we were, and we definitely were the latter rain eschatology. But so now people think we're evangelicals, but we're really not, because we don't really believe a lot of the things that evangelicals believe. But we want to say we are because, well, we're a member of the National Society of Evangelicals. So we kind of have to at least pretend to be evangelical, but we're really not. We're not fundamentalist. What are we? We're just Pentecostal. And that's okay. This idea that we have to try and mold into all these different molds and be accepted by evangelicals. Don't forget these people we call evangelicals, their grandparents were throwing tomatoes at us because we were praying in tongues. They were burning down our churches. They were literally, some people got martyred. Some Pentecostals got martyred for what they believed by evangelicals. They chased people out of town with pitchforks and shotguns. Okay, we're not evangelical. We're not fundamentalist. We're just Pentecostals. And I really think it's crazy that we're so busy trying to pretend like we're fundamentalists when we know we're not. And they know we're not. We're not fundamentalists. The fundamentalists know that we're not, and we know that we're not. We just need to accept our identity as Pentecostal and realize we don't fit in any of the molds. We believe in the end time harvest leading up to the catching up of the saints. So, there's my thoughts on why we're not evangelical.